And welcome back to CMBG News. I'm Corey Emanuel. In today's world news, fighting between Shiite rebels and Sunni Islamists wounded at least 26 people in North Yemen Wednesday as the new prime minister worked to form a government under a Gulf plan to avert civil war by easing President Ali Abdullah Saleh from power. The plan, crafted by Yemen's wealthier neighbors, envisions a government including opposition parties that back 10 months of protests aimed at ending Saleh's 33-year rule, which would lead the country to presidential elections in February. Saleh, who backed out of that deal 3 times, signed it last week and transferred powers to his deputy, a step the plan's sponsors said will help reverse the chaos Yemen has slid toward during the political struggle over Saleh's fate. One of the country's multiple overlapping regional conflicts flared anew when Shiite Muslim fighters who have rebelled in northern province along the Saudi border attacked Sunni Islamists who they have fought over the last week. An Afghan family who refused to give their daughter in marriage to a man they considered irresponsible were attacked at home by an unknown gunman who beat the father and then poured acid over both parents and 3 children, officials said Wednesday. All 5 are now receiving medical treatment. 18-year-old Mumtaz, the oldest daughter, had been pursued by a local gunman who the family considered a troublemaker and bully. With her parents' support, she turned him down and instead got engaged to a relative. Acid is used intermittently as a weapon in Afghanistan, but not always against women. In the conservative and Taliban-influenced South and East, it has been thrown at girls attending schools. With foreign combat troops set to return home by the end of 2014, some activists inside and outside Afghanistan fear that women's rights may be sacrificed in the scramble to ensure the West leaves behind a relatively stable state. Indian authorities said Wednesday they had broken up a terror cell responsible for a series of bombings, including a deadly blast at a southern cafe popular with foreigners. The arrest of the 6 men, one of whom was Pakistani, was the first reported breakthrough by Indian authorities trying to solve a string of recent terror attacks. New Delhi police issued a statement saying the accused were part of a cell of the shadowy domestic terror group known as the Indian Mujahideen, and they were found with 2 rifles, a pistol, nearly 11 pounds of explosives, detonators, and fake Indian currency notes. The cell was responsible for the February 13, 2010 blast that killed 17 people at a cafe in Pune, a bombing at a Bangalore cricket stadium, and the shooting and bombing attack outside a famous New Delhi mosque that injured 2 foreigners. The cell collapsed in a series of police raids across India last week after the arrest of 1 member led authorities to others, police said. Radioactive debris from melted fuel rods may have seeped deeper into the floor of Japan's tsunami-hit nuclear reactor than previously thought. The findings will not change the ongoing efforts to stabilize the reactors more than 8 months after Fukushima Daiichi plant was disabled, but they harshly depict the meltdowns that occurred and conditions within the reactors, which will be off limits for years. The plant operator, Tokyo Electric Power, said its latest simulation showed fuel at the number 1 reactor may have eroded part of the primary containment vessel's thick concrete floor. The vessel is a beaker-shaped steel container set into the floor, a concrete foundation below that is the last man-made barrier before Earth. The fuel came within a foot of the container's steel bottom in the worst-case scenario, but has been somewhat cooled, a TEPCO nuclear safety official said. The nuclear crisis following the March 11th earthquake and tsunami caused massive radiation leaks and the relocation of some 100,000 people. You're now up to date on world news. We'll be right back after these brief messages.